Hi guys, how's it going? I've been working out late at night, can't sleep, thought I'd do some working out. Let's have a look. What have we got these guns up to now? 15 inches. I don't know if you can see this. Ooh, 15 inches, look at that. Ooh, can we zoom in on that? I don't know if I can. Can you see? Maybe you can. Small things, eh? Small minds. Anyway, the reason I want to make this video is because there's more speculation on the old Fatshark Digital system. What's going on there? I've been looking at lots of people's videos over the last couple of days, and I finally think I've got a grasp on this. I think I've listened carefully to what people are saying and what they're not saying, which is even more important. And I think I've discovered pretty much, well, I'm 99% sure this is what's going on. Now, Greg from Fatshark says, this is not DJI. He says, this is not DJI. I know Joshua has speculated. Joshua Bardwell says he can't say, but it's not DJI. You know, although he's hinted it could be DJI. It's like nobody knows for sure. Pavel Spachalski brought up a very interesting thing, and his perspective changed my views a little bit. I got to admit, Pavel has some great insight there. I'll link to his video in the description. But here's what I think's happened. Now, DJI is a company that makes drones. Well, no, they assemble drones. And that's the important thing. They assemble drones. Now, DJI doesn't make its own silicon chips, doesn't have a foundry, doesn't go out and make its own ASICs and things. The ASIC is one of the key things in this whole FPV system. They have a very powerful ASIC. An ASIC is just a large integrated circuit that's been custom designed to do a specific job. You get jelly bean integrated circuits, which are sort of off the shelf. You can use them for 101 different things, like an operational amplifier, op-amp, or a timer, or a CPU. They can be used for lots of things, but ASICs tend to be very application specific. In fact, that's part of the name, application specific. It's an ASIC, application specific integrated circuit. There you go, that's what it is, ASIC. So ASICs are very specialist. Now, DJI farms out ASIC manufacture to a silicon foundry somewhere that goes out and makes these things. That's how you do it. And I dare say they might even farm out things like motors, propellers. We don't know. I don't know what sort of facilities they've got, but they do assemble the drones on an assembly line and fly them around and then put them in boxes, ship to customers. Everyone's happy, right? But there are products that they sell they don't make. I don't think they make the Tello drone. I think that's made by another company and it's just rebranded and sold by DJI as the Tello. So that they're quite familiar with this whole rebranding situation. Now, they launched the DJI Digital FPV system. It was all in-house. It was all branded DJI. But I don't think they were making the whole damn thing. Now, they weren't making the chips. They may have been, I don't know if they even were making the boards. They probably had the boards made by a PCB manufacturer. And then they may have assembled them into air units, into goggles and things in the DJI factory. That's probably how it worked. And then they decided they were going to let Caddx sell their branded versions of the air units and the Vista. So what happened there? Well, what's happening is we've got a company, let's call it Company X up here in the corner here. Company X. That company is doing the manufacturing of the DJI FPV electronics. So they're taking the ASICs and put them on a circuit board and manufacturing it and shipping it off to DJI, who then put it in the plastic case for the goggles and the metal case for the air units. That's probably how it works. So Company X makes the components for the DJI FPV system. And in the case of Caddx, what's been happening is DJI has said, you can ship straight to Caddx and they'll put them together and put their branding on them. Maybe even this company up here. This company may even assemble the whole damn thing and just ship a finished unit. But they're making the key components, basically they're making the DJI digital system. It's not DJI, but it's sold as DJI because DJI, put them in the boxes, send them out. And DJI designed this system. I pretty much guarantee that DJI designed the system. It's because it's been used in their other drones, their Mavics, and it's the OcuSync system. So it's been developed over a very long period of time, probably in-house. So DJI own all the intellectual property associated with that FPV system. Their patents, their copyrights, whatever's involved. So now we have the situation where Caddx has been selling air units. And that's probably worked out pretty well for DJI because they haven't had the hassles of distribution, marketing, warehousing, all that sort of stuff. It just goes from Company X straight to Caddx and Caddx ship them out to the customers. Fantastic. The DJI are probably looking at the whole FPV market and saying, it's a bit messy. We're not making as much money as we thought we would. The FPV drone wasn't a real runaway success. And we're selling FPV units, but our core business is camera drones. So I've got the Mini, the Mini 2, the Mini 3. These are doing really, really well. So I guess they want to focus quite a bit. And they're also looking at cameras. Remember, they just released the action camera, the new action camera, and they've had the Ronin they're talking about doing. They're doing a lot of things. They don't want to be distracted by FPV. So what I suspect has happened here is that DJI has said to Caddx, well, okay, you guys, you can deal directly with Company X. We just want a clip the ticket. Every time Company X ships you a product, you send us money for licensing, for intellectual property licensing. So Caddx has been working with Company X, and Probably DJI's had input too, and they might have made a few tweaks to the basic FPV system, which would have been version 3 if it had been sold under DJI's branding. But they've made a few changes. And now the position is that the company X is shipping to Caddx, and Caddx is going to be shipping to Fatshark and all the other companies through their Walk Snail company, right? So this means that DJI is not actually in the loop. It doesn't go from company X to DJI to Caddx or to Fatshark. So when Greg from Fatshark says it's not DJI, and when Joshua Bardwell or anyone else who's in the know says it's not DJI, they're being totally truthful. This is not DJI, it's company X. It's company X, but DJI are involved. No one has said, and I've looked very, very long and hard, perhaps I missed it. If I did, please tell me in the comments, but I cannot find anyone who has said this is not DJI technology, because I'm 99.9% sure this is DJI technology. Not DJI, but it is DJI's technology, which is being licensed through company X to Caddx, Walk Snail, whatever, who are then selling it to Fatshark, whatever, and Avatar, whoever it might be. So yeah, this is still DJI technology. This is still the DJI digital system with some tweaks and adjustments, but it's not DJI. So why is everybody so busy saying it's not DJI? Well, as I mentioned in the video I made on RC Model Reviews, there's a bit of a stigma associated with DJI in many areas of the FPV community. Certain people, they wouldn't touch DJI with a barge pole because they hate the big corporate image and all the things DJI have done. You know, it's almost a ideology thing. Don't want to have been of DJI. So by doing it this way, DJI is hiding in the corner, still making money, but company X is dealing with Caddx, and people will buy Caddx because they bought Caddx FPV stuff for ages, and people will buy Fatshark because they bought Fatshark FPV stuff for ages, and everyone can say hand on heart, it's not DJI, but they never add the word technology on the end, because it is DJI technology as far as I can see. Because you look at it, say it was a company that decided we're going to reverse engineer, or we're going to start from scratch, produce a system, why would you make it so much like the DJI system? Why would you have all the OSD elements in the same place? Why would you have the same basic interface? Why would you do that? Well, you wouldn't, would you? Because then you risk DJI coming along and saying, you've stolen our look and feel. And we've seen with Windows and other products over the years, look and feel is something that it becomes part of your intellectual property, and you can get sued for it, and they can tie you up in the courts for years. So you wouldn't take that risk. You'd try to make it look as different as possible whilst adding bits and pieces. But this doesn't look different. It looks very similar, because DJI have said, we don't want to put a lot of effort into changing this thing. We'll just add a few bits and pieces. We're not going to rejig the whole damn lot. So there it is, take it and run with it. So it is pretty much the DJI digital system. Now, the other thing though is that Joshua Bardwell, I call him JB. JB said that it still had rough edges, wasn't ready for the big time, wasn't ready to use, it still had bugs and problems. And you look at the user interface, and I think I know why. Because a digital FPV system consists of 3 parts. There's the video transmitter, the video receiver, and the goggles, right? Now, the video transmitter is DJI technology, the video receiver is DJI technology, but the goggles may not be. The goggles may have been designed by Fatshark or Avatar or whoever it is, and so they probably had to write the firmware on the goggles from scratch. So they haven't been able to just port over the DJI goggle firmware, because we're dealing with OLEDs and other bits and pieces. They may have said, we're going to rewrite the interface from scratch. Now, there's an API they can use to access the functions in the video receiver, but they have to write it all from scratch. So that's probably what's happened. They've got some very raw, very early code in the user interface. That's where the bugs are. But the video transmitter, video receiver, DJI technology, well proven, tried and proven, just a few tweaks for extra resolution, whatever. I believe that's what's happened. I believe that's what's happened. And I'm not even sure that Fatshark have designed or have built the damn goggles, because if we look online, we find Avatar. Avatar is the same. What are the odds that Avatar would come up with exactly the same design, exactly the same specifications as Fatshark when designing a new set of goggles? Wow, well, who would believe it? Well, obviously not. As I said, companies often just buy stuff and rebrand it and sell it. So is Avatar the manufacturer, and they're selling to Fatshark, who are just rebranding and selling? Not a stupid idea. Or is Fatshark the manufacturer and Avatar are buying and rebranding it? We don't know. But when you see 2 things that look identical in the marketplace, you can be pretty sure there's one manufacturer who's selling to another. As simple as that. And then you just, well, OEMing as it's called. So yeah, we really don't know what's going on there. But suffice to say, I think we can be pretty damn sure that this is DJI technology, even though through some clever weasel words and organization, Fatshark can say it's not DJI, because it isn't. DJI's down here, company X up there, Caddx here, and Fatshark over here. Goes bing, bing like that, right? Goes ting, ting like that. DJI just sits here, collecting the money for every unit that passes through CADX. Well, money, money, money. They're licensed, they're intellectual property. They're not going to give it away. They're not going to say to Company X, oh, you can sell it to whoever you like. We don't care. They've spent so much money developing this intellectual property and they want the revenue streams. So it is DJI technology, and DJI will be profiting from every unit that's sold, in my honest opinion. That's what I think at this stage. Based on the weight of evidence before me, that's what I believe the situation is. I could be totally wrong. First to admit it, this again is like all the other people, speculation, but it's informed speculation based on spending a lot of time looking at what everybody's saying and, more importantly, what they're not saying. So there you go. What do you think? Am I right? Could I be wrong? Of course I could be wrong. I'm always wrong. Well, often wrong. But go down to the comments and have your say. Are we narrowing in, or focusing in on the real story? Because I don't think we're going to get it from Fatshark. But this is a problem. I think Fatshark should be very concerned right now. The problem is that by saying it's not DJI, technically they're totally correct. But if they're going to be so disingenuous as to try and deceive, because most people would take it as, oh, it's not the DJI digital system. If you're going to split things so finely and say, well, technically that's correct, but we know it was digital, it was the DJI system, you run the risk that people are going to see you as untrustworthy and disingenuous and dishonest. When these things arrive in people's hands and people say, hey, look, there's the bloody ASIC from DJI, it's the actual DJI ASIC, even if they laser it off, you can soon tell what it is. If they look at it and say, this is the DJI digital system, they'll go back to Fatshark and say, you told us it wasn't DJI. And if Greg turns around and goes, no, I said it wasn't DJI. I didn't say it wasn't a DJI system. That's not going to look good from the point of view of the credibility in the marketplace. Why aren't they just honest right up front and say, it's not DJI the company, but it is their technology, it's been licensed. Why don't you say that? I mean, I think people would be happy with that. They'd accept that and say, well, it's great because we love the technology, but we don't like the company. Some people have that point of view. That's what I would do. If I was Greg, and if I was all the other people involved in this, I'd say, yes, it's DJI's technology. It's been licensed, but it's not DJI, the company. It's manufactured outside of DJI, and it's being shipped directly to us or our partners. That would be the honest, ethical, upright thing to do. Now, that may not be what's happening, which may be why they're not saying that. Because as I said just a moment ago, it's all speculation. We're all just guessing. But I think I'm close to the money. And as I say, go to the comments, tell me, am I close or am I miles out? JB, Greg, maybe you'd like to chime in. Have I got it wrong? Probably. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll get back, do some more exercises. Let's see if we can get 16 inches with the old biceps. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.